Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for interesting and important happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you don't know you have. The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to these sources and anything else potentially interesting, be them links that we gather throughout the show, or everything Omni Coalition, please check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and you are you, viewer. Today is Freya's Day, aka Friday, October 6, 2023. So let's jump into the history today, shall we? Starting in 105 BC, we have the Battle of Arusio. The Cimbri inflicted the heaviest defeat on the Roman army of Gnaeus Mallius Maximus. Alright. Then we got the Battle of Artaxata in 65 BC. Lucilius averted the bad omen of this day by defeating Tigranes the Great of Armenia. Alright. Then we're going to do a pretty good time jump here. Up into 1567, the Duke of Alva became the land guardian of the Netherlands. Alright. In 1683, 13 Mennonite families from Germany founded Germantown in Philadelphia. Hey, look at that. So if you live in Germantown, Philadelphia, thank the Mennonites. 1783, Benjamin Hanks patented the self-winding clock. Alright. 1789, during the French Revolution, Louis the 16th returned to Paris from Versailles after being confronted by the Parisian women on October 5th. Wonder what happened there. 1811, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte visited Utrecht, which Utrecht is rather significant in history. Like, there's been a lot of happenings around Utrecht, I believe. Let me just look that up here really quickly. Yeah, the city of Utrecht. We've spoken about it before for whatever reason. What else do we got here? 1849, the execution of the 13 martyrs of Arad after the Hungarian War of Independence. Yeah, well, I mean, the Tree of Liberty must be watered from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots alike. And that's not just the United States, that's just in general. 1854, the Great Fire of Newcastle and Gateshead started shortly after midnight, leading to 53 deaths and hundreds of injuries. Alice! No, too bad she's not here. Like, otherwise, I'd explain that joke. 1861, revolt of Russian student shuts down University of Petersburg. So one student? Like, it says here students, not students. So the revolt of one Russian student, I guess. Huh. 1863, Dr. Charles H. Shepard opened the first public bath in Brooklyn. Alright. 3 years later, we got the first train robbery in the U.S. Reno brothers took $13,000. And I remember last year we looked this up. Let's see here. $13,000, 1866. So let's see here. 1866, $13,000. It would be $251,027.55 today. Alright, that's still a pretty good haul. Well, that's over $250,000. 1871, Fisk Jubilee Singers, a black U.S. cappella ensemble from Nashville's Fisk University, began the first national tour of U.S. in Cincinnati, Ohio. Alright. That's right here. We also have 1876. American Library Association was organized in Philadelphia. Alright. 1882. The first World Series baseball game won. Cincinnati Red Stockings AA defeat the Chicago White Stockings National League 4-0 at Bank Street grounds in Cincinnati. I believe that's in Ohio. Ohio! What is on my glasses? So please don't tell me it's starting to get scratches. 1884, Naval War College formed in Newport, Rhode Island. Alright. Okay, good. 1889, first known ascent of the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest peak, by German climber Hans Meyer and Austrian Ludwig Purtscheller. Alright. A German and an Austrian walks into a bar. And I'm not talking about the alcoholic one either. Browning automatic rifle. 1890, General Conference of the Latter-day Saints outlawed polygamy. Now that's interesting. That's Mormons, and they're all about the polygamy. So, huh. 1893, Nabisco Foods invented cream of wheat. All right. So yeah, anybody without teeth who needs their nutrients of grains and whatnot can still get their cream of wheat. 1896, Filipino nationalist Jose Rizal was arrested en route to Cuba via Spain and imprisoned in Barcelona. Huh. 2 years later, Phi Alpha Sinfonina fraternity founded at the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston, Massachusetts. All right. 1900, Britain annexed Orange Free State as the Orange River Colony. 3 years later, the High Court of Australia set for the first time, mate. Oh, look at that. 3 more years later, 1906, the Majlis of Iran convened for the first time. All right. Then 2 more years later, 1908, Austria annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina. All right. 1908 as well, the Yankees lost their 100th game of the year. It went on for 51-103 for the season. Yikes. 1910, Braves beat Phillies 20-7. That's a pretty decent margin right there. 1911, Beatrix van Rijswijk became the first licensed Dutch woman pilot. Oh. While that was going on, Boston Rustlers future baseball fame, Hall of Fame pitcher Cy Young, his MLB farewell appearance was a letdown. Lost 13-3 to the Brooklyn Dodgers in his 906th game. That's not a way to go out. You know, Cy Young, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. We also have 1912 Pirates Owen Chief Wilson hit record 36 triple of season. That is remarkable. 1917 Battle of Passchendaele. Canadian troops captured the village of Passchendaele in the Third Battle of Ypres after 250,000 casualties on both sides. And yes, there's a movie called Passchendaele, I believe. The opening scene, or one of the scenes, you see like a dead Canadian troop just sitting there without his head, like got blown off or something. So it's a brutal movie, but you know, war is brutal. 1919, Chicago White Sox catcher Ray Schlack was second man ejected from a Baseball World Series in Game 5 versus Cincinnati Reds, angered when pitchers Eddie Kickout and lefty Williams refused to follow his signals during a 5-0 loss. Well, that's a good reason to get kicked out. I wonder who was the first one, though. Like, first to get kicked out of World Series? Baseball World Series. Black Sox scandal. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to be a rabbit hole. Let's see here. Moving on up to 1920, the First brothers opposed each other in the World Series. Cleveland's Wheeler Johnson pinch hits as brother Jimmy plays third base for Brooklyn. Huh. 1921, fewest hits in a Baseball World Series game. New York Yankees defeated the New York Giants 3-0 at the Polo Grounds in Game 2 on 3 hits to the Giants 2. 1921 as well, International Pen, a worldwide association of writers, was founded in London. Alright. 1 year later, the great powers of the First World War withdrew from Istanbul. Yep. So, actually, no, the First World War, no, it's long been over by 1922. So, yeah, that was the capital of the Ottoman Empire, which were the Central Powers, the quote-unquote bad guys of the First World War. 1923, we had the first National League unassisted triple play, Ernie Padgett Braves against the Phillies. And while that was going on, the USSR, the Soviet Union, or the Union for Soviet Socialist Republics, adopted an experimental calendar. Yeah, they were trying to do their own thing for a little while. 3 years later, 1926, Babe Ruth became the first MLB player to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game as New York Yankees defeated St. Louis Cardinals 10-5 in Game 4, Sportsman Park, St. Louis. Then we got The Jazz Singer in 1927, directed by Alan Crosland, starring Al Jolson and Mae McCavey, was released. This was the first film with a soundtrack, Honorary Academy Award in 1928. Alright, so, like, with an actual built-in soundtrack. And I would let Alice explain this if she were here, but from what she's told me, and it sounds 100% true, there were no scripts. Like back in the old days, you know, when you watch silent movies and you had that piano player on the side, there were no scripts. It was up to the piano player, or the pianist, whoever it is there, to, on the fly, make music pertaining to the scenes. So no 2 shows were ever the same. And, you know, that's a lost thing, you know, in cinema that we're probably never going to get, you know, back in some way. Because that's really interesting. You know, you can see the same exact movie, but you will get different emotions every single time, depending on how the pianist felt and how they were interpreting the scene. You know, even if it's the same one, you know, it could be a different, you know, different tune. Really interesting. 1928, Joseph Broz Tito was sentenced to 5 years in jail. All right, and yeah, that was 28. So they definitely expanded on that. So let me change that. So Yugoslav revolutionary Joseph Broz Tito was convicted after police found bombs in his apartments, and he was sentenced to 5 years in jail. That's a little bit more informative. Thank you for adding that. 1931, Joris van Severen formed Verdun Asso, Union of Flemish National Solidarities. 1935, Market Street Railway, San Francisco, started using trackless trolley coaches. And in 1939, Adolf Hitler announced plans to regulate the Jewish problem, which, you know, that's a really disturbing thing to say. But, you know, here's something interesting. He did not want to kill them. He just wanted to remove them. The Holocaust was not Hitler's idea. It was actually Himmler's, and we'll be talking about that in a minute here. Speaking of Hitler, in 1939, he also denied he intended to go to war against France and Britain, which obviously later turned out to be a lie. 1939 as well, the last Polish army was defeated during the Second World War. So a lot of stuff happened on this date for, you know, that. 1940, zoological gardens opened at Sloat and Skyline Boulevards in San Fran, California. Alright. I wonder if they're still around there. Zoological Gardens, San Fran. Let's check this out here. San Fran. Okay, yeah, they're still around. San Francisco Zoo. Okay. Cool. 1943, this is what I was talking about. Himmler wanted an acceleration of the final solution. So there you go. Like, he was really like the driving force behind killing them all. Hitler just wanted them gone, not dead. So, you know, that's a lot of things. Everybody likes to point their fingers, you know, on a unified common bad guy. Well, you know, all these hippies driving around their Volkswagen Beetles and their Bugs and their vans and all that crap. Like, Volkswagen was literally created by Adolf Hitler. You're driving Hitler's car, you hippies. So, we also have 1944, Allied aircraft accidentally bombed fishing in Overijssel. That's not good, but, you know, fog of war, friendly fire does exist even to this day. 1944 as well, Canadians freed Austria. All right. We also have Soviet forces marched into Hungary and Czechoslovakia. Not really to liberate it, more like put it under new management. 1945, memorial for executed unveiled in Turgavy. So the memorial for the executed. What is that about? Let's. I didn't mean to do that. Come on. Enter. Thank you. Okay. By a son of one of the executed persons. The monument is a prancing horse for fear of getting hit, of hitting a nearby bomb. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. Alright, for further reading on this subject matter, please refer to the underbar, the description below. Links to this and any other articles that we collect throughout the show will be down there after the live stream, of course. 1945, the tavern owner Billy Goat Sinus bought a seat for his goat for Game 4 of Baseball World Series. He was escorted out and casted goat curse on Chicago Cubs. Yeah, that's what you get. You know, he bought the seat. You know, let him have it. 1945 as well, U.S. General Eisenhower was welcomed in The Hague on Hitler's train, no less. So, this is after the end of the Second World War, so he's just touring Europe and all that stuff. Took Hitler's train, that's hilarious. 1946, 90 degrees Fahrenheit was the highest temperature ever recorded in Cleveland in October. Alright. 1946 as well, U.S. President Harry Truman questioned Great Britain Jews about Palestine. That's an interesting article. Let me just take a surface scratch of that. Recognition of Israel. Yeah, no, Palestine was there first. So, Israel is just taking over everything. It's kind of funny how, you know, Israel and Google are buddy-buddy, and now Google doesn't recognize Palestine as a country on Google Maps. Funny how things like that play out, huh? Anyway. 1947 Baseball World Series, New York Yankees defeated Brooklyn Dodgers 5-2 at Yankee Stadium to clinch series 4-3, 11th championship in team history. All right. 1948, paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey found the first partial fossil skull of Proconsul africanus, an ancestor of apes and humans, on Rusinga Island in Kenya. Ah, nice. We also have a 1948 earthquake in Ashgabat killed 100,000 people in the Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic. Yikes. And I already read that. So I went ahead a little too much. Did I miss somebody? No, I guess not. I did talk about this. Yeah. 1949, Eva Togori Diaquino, Tokyo Rose, was sentenced to 10 years and $10,000 fine. I almost added in an extra zero. 1949, U.S. President Harry Truman signed the Mutual Defense Assistance Act for NATO, so for the National Atlantic Treaty Organization. 1951, Joseph Stalin proclaimed the Soviet Union has the atomic bomb. Yeah, thanks, Klaus Fuchs, you Brit. 1952, Agatha Christie's play The Mousetrap opens in London. It is still running. All right. 1956, scientist Albert Sabin announced that his oral polio vaccine was ready for testing. It would soon supplant Jonas Salk's vaccine in many parts of the world. Hell yeah, no, the polio was a serious thing. And like you asked the loon, that was coming out when he was a kid. And that scared the hell out of him. He knew kids he played with that got crippled for life and spent the rest of their life in that iron lung. Like that is beyond. That is a fate worse than death. Getting polio and ending up in an iron lung. Like, look at these kids. That's going to be their life for the rest of their lives. Just laying there as a machine breathes for them. It puts pressure on their body externally to encourage breathing. Oh, that's scary. 1958, U.S. nuclear sub USS Seawolf remained a record 60 days under the North Pole. Yeah. 1959, Soviet Luna 3, the first successful photographic spacecraft, impacted the moon. And speaking of that, I just actually watched, not too long ago, let me open up my history if I can find it here. Where is it? It's about the moon. Here we go. All missions to the moon. This is a really good video here. And this channel, what is this? Metaball Studios, I believe. Yeah, Metaball Studios. Pretty good. So I'm going to add this down here. Really interesting. And I did not mean to do that. I'm just screwing up all over the place, aren't I? Anyway, let's move on up here. 1960, Spartacus, directed by Stanley Kubrick and starring Kirk Douglas and Lawrence Oliver, premiered in New York City. I am Spartacus. No, I am Spartacus. I am Leonard. 1961, JFK advised U.S. citizens to build fallout shelters. Now, the fear was real, like, it was like, hey, we're the government, we can't guarantee your safety, build a fallout shelter, because the Ruskies might bomb us, Threat was really real, as it is today. 1966, LSD, actually known as lysergic acid diethylamide, was first declared illegal in the state of California. Other states followed. All right. Go California, finally getting something right. 1966 as well, the Orioles pitcher Jim Palmer, at the age of 20, was the youngest to record a World Series shutout as Baltimore defeated the LA Dodgers 6-0. Oh yeah, the Orioles. In Game 2 at the Dodger Stadium. Cool. We also have a partial meltdown at Detroit's Fermi 1 nuclear reactor. Ooh, that's terrifying. Partial meltdown. Why is that not highlighted? That's pretty significant. 1967, Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, hippies threw a funeral for Hippie to mark the end of the Summer of Love. Yep. 1972, a 22-car train carrying 2,000 pilgrims derailed, killing 208 in Mexico. Yikes. 1973, the Yom Kippur War began when Syria and Egypt attacked Israel after constant provoking. Israel was clearly never going to throw the first swing, but they were always going to be like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. That's how they'll come out looking like the victim. So, when they're actually the aggressor. 1976, Gang of Four was arrested in Beijing. I wonder what that's about. Let's do a surface level scratch on that potential rabbit hole. Oh, here we go. Hua and the 4 leading radicals and a number of their lesser associates were arrested. Han Suin gave a detailed account of their overthrow. An emergency session of the Politburo was to take place in the Great Hall of the People that evening. Their presence was required. The Gang of 4. All right. So here we go. Let's add that in the underbar section. What else do we got here? 1976. Cubana Flight 455 crashed into the Atlantic Ocean after 2 bombs placed by terrorists with connections to the CIA exploded on board shortly after taking off from Bridgetown, Barbados, killing all 73 on board. And why is that not highlighted? Terrorists with connections to the CIA. Terrorists with connections to the CIA. Hello? Wake up, McFly. 1976. John Hathaway completed a 50,600-mile bicycle tour of every continent. That's awesome. I want to do that. 1976 as well, U.S. President Gerald Ford said there is, quote, no Soviet domination in Eastern Europe, end quote. Well, yeah, after the bloc fell and all that stuff, yeah, it was a gradual decline. 1978, Hannah H. Gray inaugurated as the first female head of a U.S. university, specifically in Chicago. All right. Good old Chicago, being extremely progressive and diverse, and look at how great they're turning out to be. 1978 as well, Iraq declares Ayatollah Khomeini an undesirable person. That's probably the look on his face after he heard that. It's like, excuse me? 1978 as well, Mick Jagger apologized for racist lyrics in Some Girls. Okay. 1979, Harry Drake set long-distance football shot record of 2,006 yards, 1 foot 9 inches. All right. We also have 1979. Pope John Paul II was the first pope to visit the White House, meeting with President Jimmy Carter in Washington D.C. Yeah, John Paul II, the Pope of many firsts. I think he was the first one to visit the Western Hemisphere, actually. Hold on a second. First pope to visit the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. Oh, Pope Paul the. Okay, it wasn't John Paul. Pope Paul, the sixth, in 65. All right. Moving on up to 1980, Guyana adopted a constitution. Guyana. I don't know how to pronounce their country. We also have John Lyndon, a.k.a. Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols, was sentenced up to 3 months imprisonment on assault charges. And was it him or somebody else who... no, he's still alive. So that was somebody. Robbie Rotten, I think. I'm not sure. 1983, Islanders Mike Bossy's 25th career hat trick. All right. 1985, New York Yankees knuckleballer Phil Niekro became the 18th pitcher to win 300 games. Pardon me. At 46, became the oldest to pitch a shutout, defeating Toronto 8-0. Pardon me for the coughing. I had permanent scarring in my lungs from when I was a sandblaster, so every now and then I just cough. 1985, again, don't get into sandblasting, kids. That aluminum oxide is some real nasty stuff. 1985, PC Keith Blakelock was murdered as riots erupted in the Broadwater Farm estate in Tottenham, North London. Yikes. My year, 1987, military group leader Major General Civitani Rabuka declared Fiji a republic. All right. 1990, solar polar orbital. You try saying it. Solar polar orbiter Ulysses launched. That is a tongue twister of unremarkable precision. 1991, Orioles last game at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium versus Detroit Tigers. 2 years later, after 9 seasons and 3 championships with the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan announced his retirement from the NBA. Returned on March 18th, 1995, and led Bulls to another 3 NBA titles. Oh, you fibbing fibber, you, Michael Jordan, silly man. What else do we got here? 1993 as well. Sydney, Australia, stock market index above 2,000 for the first time. That's pretty cool. 1994, today through the 9th, so throughout the next 3 days, European campaign against racism conferred in Austria. All right. Then we also have Ben Mokoena became the first black mayor of Middelburg in South Africa. Cool. 1995, 51 Pegasi discovered as the first major star, apart from the sun, to have a planet orbiting around it. Cool. That's really cool. That should be highlighted because that is major. 1995 as well, Colorado Avalanche, former the Q Nordiques, first NHL game, defeated Detroit. All right. We also have on this date in history, October 6, 1996, Lois and Clark, the fictional characters, wed. You know, Lois Lane and Clark Kent, Superman, they finally married. They tied the knot. In the year 2000, President of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, Slobodan Milosevic, resigned. And we also have Swedish comedy drama Songs from the Second Floor, written and directed by Roy Andersson, was released in Sweden. Sounds like Bad Neighbors. Songs from the Second Floor, yeah. Like you're on the you have like upstairs neighbors. They always actually hold on a second. This reminds me of a really funny video. Upstairs neighbors funny. Let's see if I can find it, because it is. Yeah, is that it? Yeah, this is it. This is hilarious. You gotta watch this. So, but before you do, of course, finish up this video. Moving on up, 2001 UK talent show Pop Idol debuted, created by Simon Fuller with judges Simon Cowell, Pete Waterman. Started off a worldwide Idol franchise. Yeah, American Idol, Got Talent, UK Pop Idol, like so many of these shows. Like, whoever said talent shows were a grade school only thing. 2002, Pope John Paul II canonized Opus Dei, who was the founder of Josemaria Escriva, as a Catholic saint. All right. While that was going on, the French oil tanker Limburg was bombed off Yemen. That is why. Okay, it was bombed. 2007, Jason Lewis completed the first human-powered circumnavigation of the globe. All right, that's incredible. 2008, Messenger spacecraft performed a second Mercury flyby. Cool. Then we got Manhattan Records in 2009 released The List, the 12th studio album by singer Roseanne Cash, with song selections culled from a list of 100 titles that her father compiled and gave her when she decided to pursue a career in music. The album features guest appearances by Bruce Springsteen, Jeff Tweedy, Elvis Costello, and Rufus Wainwright. All right. 1 year later, Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger launched social media app Instagram. Yeah, which we have an Instagram. Actually, where's social media? Yeah, we have an Instagram. So, 2012, New Zealand wins inaugural rugby championship with a 32-16 win over South Africa in Johannesburg. Undefeated All Blacks score 4 tries with 1, with Dan Carter booting 3 conversions and a penalty and a drop goal. And I don't know what the All Blacks mean. Like, pretty sure it has nothing to do with the skin color. It's some kind of a team or something. I'm not sure. I don't know any. I know slightly more about rugby than I do about cricket, and that's only because cricket is very confusing. We have Paolo Gabriele, the 2012 Pope Benedict the 16th butler, was found guilty of leaking confidential documents and was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment. Yikes. 2013, 53 people were killed in political clashes in Egypt. It's not good. 2017, Vegas Golden Knights made their NHL debut in Dallas, winning 2-1 over the Stars. Cool. 2018, Australia recorded the biggest comeback in rugby championship history in defeating Argentina 45-34 and Salta Wallabies trial 31-7 at halftime, but score 5 second-half tries to none to overwhelm the Pumas, mate. Them damn Pumas. Blimey! 2018 as well, Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed and sworn in onto the U.S. Supreme Court amid protests after an FBI investigation. I only know about that name, so I don't follow any of this political crap, because that's just what it is. It's crap. It's distractions. It's stuff to make you think about things that are not relevant to really actual significant things that is happening. Let's not forget, all of this Trump indictment stuff happened at the same time that the Hunter Biden laptop things happened. Distraction! Distraction! Oh, everybody follow Trump because Trump is Trump. Oh, everybody look at Trump. Everybody be a good little sheep. 2018, Khabib Nurmagomedov of Dagestan defeated Irishman Conor McGregor by 4th round submission in UFC lightweight title fight in Las Vegas. Instantly marred by ugly post-fight brawling incident. Belt withheld pending investigation. We also have an oil tanker collision with a car left at least 50 people dead and 100 with serious burns near Kisanu, Democratic Republic of Congo. 2019, 99 Iraqis have died and 4,000 additional injured in protests over the past 5 days against living conditions, unemployment, and corruption, according to Human Rights Group. Yeah, well, I mean, it is Iraq. 2019 as well, tens of thousands of Hong Kong protesters marched in defiance of a new ban on face masks. Ban? What? I would say the banning is good, face masks. Like, no. 2021, Carnegie Hall in New York City reopened after 18-month pandemic shutdown with a concert by the Philadelphia Orchestra, conducted by Yannick Nézet-Séguin. Okay. We also have Los Angeles votes in some of the strictest Kung Flu poke mandates in the country, requiring jabs before people can enter indoor businesses and events. I remember that. Like, you couldn't go to the market, you couldn't go to restaurants. In some cases, you actually had police patrolling outside of houses and keeping people inside under threat of getting shot. Like, that was a serious thing. And people went absolutely, like, freaking fascist about it. Like, they really tried in California to lock us down like North Korea. They really did. It didn't work, thankfully, but they're trying again here soon. Anyway, 2021, the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus recommended world's first malaria vaccine, Mosquirix, for children after a pilot program was effective in Africa. Yeah, no, like, that's just more like crap. And last but not least, we have former police officer with a history of drug use. I don't know why I said France. 2022, former police officer with a history of drug use attacked daycare center, killing at least 37, including 23 children with a gun and knife in Usai Sawan, Thailand. Yikes. That is awful. I'm sorry to leave on such a horrible note, but that shall conclude the show for today. Once again, please check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting. You know, all of these links that we've discovered throughout the show will be down there after this live stream, of course. Our link tree has links to our video sharing streaming sites, our social medias, our affiliates. Go check everything out, please. Anyway, for your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream every Friday through Tuesday at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hold on a second. I gotta fix that. I'll fix that later. Yeah, anyway, for all you and all of us, I am Xander, and you are you. Until you catch us tomorrow, or if you're interested in some notable events, weather, and sports, the Omni Coalition News Show, aka Talk This, is coming up at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, so hang tight for that. And until you see us again, and whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! There we go.